Have you ever wondered whether true mastery comes from the command of power or the cultivation of wisdom? Is life shaped by decisive action and influence, or by patience, virtue, and ethical reflection? Imagine a clash of extraordinary minds. Political ambition confronting Stoic philosophy, authority versus moral clarity. A battle not of armies or speeches, but principles that determine how one lives and leads. Stay until the end, subscribe now, and witness the debate. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher teaching virtue and moral restraint, versus Julius Caesar, the general and statesman whose power changed history.
Power is fleeting, virtue endures. Julius, your conquests and political achievements are undeniable, and your influence shaped the course of history. Yet the possession of power alone does not define greatness. True mastery arises from the governance of the self, the cultivation of wisdom, and the steadfast adherence to ethical principles. Authority without virtue is like a ship without a rudder, capable of motion, yet vulnerable to storms and guided by chance rather than reason. The Stoic path teaches that external events, titles, armies, wealth, are indifferent. What matters is the mastery of one's own mind, the ability to act rightly, and the courage to remain steadfast in the face of fortune's whims. Power, when pursued without reflection, can lead to tyranny, corruption, and the erosion of the soul. Knowledge of self, clarity of judgment, and moral discipline are the true markers of lasting greatness. Even the most commanding victories cannot substitute for the cultivation of virtue. Courage, temperance, justice, and ethical clarity are achieved through consistent practice and reflection. The Stoic does not reject engagement with the world but approaches it with discernment, restraint, and moral purpose. External success is transient, but the strength of character endures across time. Julius, the empires you have led, the battles you have won, and the power you wield are extraordinary. Yet the challenges of leadership demand more than strategy and ambition. They require ethical discernment, the ability to govern oneself, and the courage to act justly even when the world pushes otherwise. Knowledge of the mind and adherence to virtue ensure that power is applied wisely, not recklessly. So, as you navigate the arenas of politics and conquest, remember that the greatest mastery lies within: the discipline of the self, the consistent pursuit of justice, and the practice of wisdom. True greatness is measured not by dominion over others, but by the strength, clarity, and ethical consistency of one's own character.
Seneca, I respect the wisdom in your counsel, the patience, virtue, and ethical restraint you champion. Yet history is shaped not by reflection alone, but by decisive action. Power, influence, and leadership are not mere tools for ambition. They are instruments through which one can enact change, protect the state, and leave a lasting mark upon the world. A leader who hesitates, who fears the exercise of authority, risks allowing fortune and chaos to dictate the course of history. In every campaign, every political maneuver, and every act of governance, decisions must be made with courage and speed. Strategy, foresight, and action transform potential into reality. While virtue guides the mind, power tests the will. To command is to accept responsibility for outcomes, to embrace risk, and to shape destiny through deliberate, calculated choices. The Stoic teaches calm reflection, but reflection without execution yields stagnation. You speak of the transience of external achievements, and I agree they are fleeting in isolation. Yet influence and authority provide the means to safeguard society, protect the innocent, and implement justice on a scale that contemplation alone cannot achieve. The legacies we leave are forged through action, shaped by leadership, and cemented by the courage to pursue objectives larger than oneself. Knowledge of the mind is vital, but it must be tested and applied in the arena of the world. Even in the face of danger, betrayal, or uncertainty, one must act decisively. Hesitation may preserve comfort, but it forfeits opportunity and permits injustice to thrive. To wield power responsibly requires intellect, strategy, and a willingness to confront challenges head-on. This is not recklessness. It is the disciplined exercise of authority guided by judgment and foresight. Seneca, I do not dismiss the value of virtue or ethical reflection. I advocate that they accompany power, shaping it to serve the greater good. Yet action, influence, and decisive leadership remain indispensable. True mastery emerges when moral discernment guides ambition, and courage transforms insight into impact. Power is not the opposite of virtue. It is its vehicle in the world, demanding both wisdom and resolve to be applied effectively. I am Julius Caesar, and I argue that to shape history, protect society, and enact meaningful change, one must embrace power, act decisively, and combine ambition with judgment and foresight. Virtue directs, but authority enables.
Julius, your achievements are extraordinary, and your command of armies and the state is unmatched. Yet power alone does not define true mastery. Authority without virtue risks arrogance, injustice, and the corruption of the soul. The Stoic path teaches that the governance of oneself, discipline, moral clarity, and reasoned judgment is the foundation upon which all external influence must rest. Knowledge of self and ethical reflection ensure that power is exercised wisely, not recklessly. Even the most remarkable conquests cannot substitute for the cultivation of virtue. Courage, temperance, justice, and patience are honed through reflection, consistency, and ethical practice. The world will test every leader. It is the mastery of the soul that determines whether one meets these challenges with integrity. External success is fleeting, but the strength of character endures. Power is a tool, virtue directs it. Logic and ambition without ethical grounding may achieve temporary victories, but they do not ensure lasting significance or moral legacy. True greatness is measured not only by dominion over others but by the steadiness of character, the clarity of judgment, and the ethical use of authority. I do not dismiss your achievements, Julius, nor the necessity of decisive action. Yet all action must be guided by reflection, moral purpose, and virtue. Mastery emerges when insight tempers ambition, when ethical clarity guides power, and when action aligns with justice. Only then does leadership become both effective and morally sound.
Seneca, your counsel on virtue, patience, and ethical reflection is profound, and I honor it. Discipline of the soul is indeed crucial. Yet history is shaped by action, by decisiveness, and by the courage to wield authority. Power, exercised with judgment, is not opposed to virtue. It is its vehicle. Without it, wisdom alone cannot influence the course of events or protect society from chaos. Leadership demands decisions under pressure, foresight and strategy, and the willingness to confront danger and uncertainty. Reflection alone cannot preserve a republic, command armies, or shape the destiny of a nation. True mastery is realized when moral discernment guides action, but action is indispensable. Authority provides the means to enact justice, defend the state, and leave a lasting mark on the world. Even the wisest of plans is powerless without execution. A leader must act decisively, balancing ethical reflection with practical necessity. Hesitation may protect comfort, but it forfeits opportunity and risks injustice. To wield power responsibly requires courage, intellect, and an unwavering commitment to goals greater than oneself. Virtue directs, but authority enables. Seneca, I do not diminish the value of ethical guidance. I advocate that it accompany power, ensuring decisions are just and foresightful. Yet action, influence, and the courage to lead remain essential. Knowledge of self and moral clarity are strengthened and tested through engagement with the world. True mastery emerges when reflection and action converge, when virtue guides ambition, and when courage transforms insight into impact. I am Julius Caesar, and I argue that to shape history, protect society, and enact meaningful change, one must embrace power, act decisively, and combine ambition with ethical judgment. Wisdom directs, but authority enacts.
Subscribe now and comment below. Who do you think won this clash of power and wisdom? Tonight, we witness two forms of mastery collide. Julius Caesar, the general and statesman whose decisive action and leadership reshaped history, versus Seneca, the Stoic philosopher teaching patience, virtue, and ethical clarity. Authority enables action, but wisdom guides it. Both paths offer timeless lessons in thought, character, and leadership. Reflect, learn, and decide whose approach resonates more with your own journey.